All right, let's talk about home servers. You know, those awesome personal powerhouses for running your media library, a personal cloud, you name it. But as a lot of us have probably found out the hard way, actually getting one set up and running smoothly, yeah, that can feel like a real battle.
I mean, have you ever been here? Just staring at a blinking cursor, trying to wrestle with some super complex configurations, and just thinking to yourself, there has to be an easier way to do this. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Let's dive into why that is.
You know, the biggest roadblocks we hit usually come from trying to use software that just wasn't made for us. We end up with these massive, enterprise-grade systems. They're packed with features we'll literally never touch. They eat up resources, and the learning curve, well, it feels like you need a PhD just to get started.
And that all experience, that's what you could call the self-hosting challenge. It's this huge gap between what we want to do, run our own cool services, and how ridiculously complicated the tools can be. But what if there was a better way? What if an OS was built from the ground up to solve this exact problem?
Well, that's where MOS comes in. Meet MOS. It's an open-source operating system designed specifically for people like us, the home lab builders, the self-hosting hobbyists. The whole idea is to give you a super powerful foundation, just without the usual headache.
And what's so cool about this is just how focused it is. See, MOS isn't trying to be the perfect OS for some giant corporate data center. Nope, it's built on the rock-solid foundation of Linux, but it is laser-focused on doing one thing really, really well, making your home server experience simple and efficient.
And it pulls this off by sticking to 3 core ideas. First, simplicity, so you can actually get things done without needing to be a full-time systems administrator. Second, performance, which means it runs great even on that old laptop or low-power device. And finally, flexibility, giving you the freedom to build whatever project you can dream out.
Okay, so that's the promise. But how does MOS actually do it? Let's pop the hood for a minute and check out the key features that make all this simplicity possible.
This chart really tells the whole story. Unlike traditional OSs that come loaded with stuff you don't need, almost starts with a bare-bones, minimal Linux base. There's absolutely no bloatware hogging your RAM or CPU. This makes it incredibly lightweight, which is perfect for something like a Raspberry Pi or, that old PC you've got collecting dust in the closet. Now, one of its most powerful features is its amazing support for containerization. If you're new to containers, just think of them as these neat, self-contained little boxes for each of your apps. Everything is kept isolated and secure, which means you can run a whole bunch of different services on one machine, and they won't step on each other's toes. It's just a much cleaner way to manage your software.
And MOS makes using these containers unbelievably easy. It actually comes with pre-built templates for all the common stuff you'd want to run. So the real magic here is the time you save. Instead of spending hours fighting with config files, you just pick a template for, say, a file server, run one simple command, and boom, you're good to go.
Let's be honest, networking can be a real pain, right? Well, MOS tackles that head-on with a bunch of built-in tools. This means you can easily manage things like your firewall to keep your server safe, or set up secure remote access so you can get to your stuff from anywhere, all without needing to be a networking guru.
But when you get right down to it, MOS isn't just about the tech specs. It's really about a totally different philosophy. It's about empowering you to take back control, to learn new things, and to build a home lab that actually works for you.
This quote really just nails it. MOS is a fantastic way to learn. It lets you get your hands dirty with real-world Linux server stuff, but it does it in a guided, much more accessible way. It kind of removes that fear factor that stops so many people from starting in the first place.
And it's really not a one-size-fits-all thing either. It's built for everyone. So if you're just starting out, you can lean on the simple user interface and these helpful guided wizards. But if you're a pro who wants to automate the whole shebang, you have full access to scripting and deep customization. It meets you right where you are.
And maybe one of the coolest parts about MOSes is that it's not some locked-down corporate product. It's a true open-source project that is 100% driven by its community.
So what does that mean? It means everything happens right out in the open on GitHub. You can see the code, you can report bugs, you can request new features, and you can even jump in and contribute yourself. The entire project grows and evolves based on what the users, people like you, actually need. And people share their setups for things like Nextcloud or Jellyfin, helping everybody else get started faster. It's awesome.
So, if we're going to boil this all down, what's the big takeaway? With MOS, you get a super solid, efficient foundation for all your self-hosting projects, but it completely strips away all that unnecessary enterprise complexity. You get all the power with none of the pain.
Which really just leaves us with one final and pretty exciting question. With a tool this powerful and this easy to use, that old hardware you have sitting around isn't a limitation anymore. It's a blank canvas. So what are you going to build first?